How can adults help youth develop a growth mindset? Does it require an intervention, or are there some everyday habits or messages that adults can give youth that help?
One of the best ways to make an adolescent not adopt a growth mindset is for adults to tell them to and say that it's good for them.
Yeah.
A joke that I sometimes tell is that adolescents can seem to be evolutionarily designed adult belief rejectors. And there's a sense in which the adult saying, no, you shouldn't give up, you should have a growth mindset, might be seen as like being told to eat their vegetables or go for a run or tuck in their shirt. But instead, when growth mindset is offered as an opportunity to fight back against the tendency to put you in a box and tell you what you're not good at, for instance, as a way of freeing you to make choices that allow you to be the kind of person you'd like to be. In some of our new work, we pair our growth mindset with a sense of purpose.
Yes.
The idea, not only can I learn, but what can I do for the world if I learn? And in those instances, then a growth mindset is highly aligned with adolescent values. Values such as defining a positive identity in the world, values such as mattering to others and being connected to others. And a growth mindset is simply one route that an adult is helping a young person adopt. So one major takeaway is when trying to help adolescents develop a growth mindset is to offer it in a way that's aligned with the kind of person an adolescent can afford to be and would like to be given their life stage.
What are some of the challenges in today's world for young people to develop a growth mindset?
One challenge is simply the tendency among all of us concerned parents to grasp onto any idea that seems really promising and then expect too much of it, or at least expect too much of simplified versions of those ideas. And so a real challenge is the temptation to turn growth mindset into a kind of magic bullet solution,
Yeah.
or as a kind of excuse to not work with students. That student can't learn, he's got a fixed mindset. So one challenge is what a growth mindset looks like in the wild, and how might it be distorted, and how might we learn better how to not do that. The second challenge, however, is the societal norms we have around emphasizing genius and talent.
Yeah.
The idea that people succeed because they have raw talent exclusively, not because of effort that they engaged in. And so in American culture, interestingly, we both have the little engine that could story, right? And we have this culture of genius, culture of talent story, that the lone genius invented everything with his or her own ability.
Yeah.
So helping adolescents navigate these different cultural tropes is one challenge that we have with growth mindset.
Are there any special challenges for disadvantaged youth?
Yeah, so unfortunately as a society we often apply negative stereotypes to individuals and their ability on the basis of group membership. So people like Claude Steele have long developed theory around the notion that simply being aware that other people might view you or your group as lower in ability can interfere with your intelligence. And what Mary Murphy at Indiana University is showing, a student of Claude Steele's, is that the implied mindset climate, whether the teacher thinks that ability is fixed, can disproportionately affect those who are simultaneously aware of intellectual stereotypes about their group. And so women, for instance, in quantitative fields, computer science, engineering, are disproportionately harmed by teachers who harbor a fixed mindset.
Yeah.
Students of color, unfortunately, who are in classes where teachers harbor a fixed mindset are also disproportionately harmed and earn lower grades in 9th grade, even if they had the same 8th grade test scores. And so as we think about growth mindset, it both is helpful for anyone going through an adversity, but it is especially helpful for those who have to contend with negative societal stereotypes about the ability of their group.
How can caring adults who work with youth help youth develop a growth mindset?
Well, one active area of research is how authentic relationships with caring adults can be a context for developing growth mindset beliefs. We don't fully know everything, but there is some amazing research done by Mark Lepper on, to date, the world's greatest educational innovation, which is one-on-one tutoring with thoughtful, caring adults. In Bloom's classic text, one-on-one mentors can get 2 standard deviation improvements even with the most disadvantaged students. And Mark Lepper here at Stanford observed what those people do. And when you read these observations, you realize what they do is they create belonging, they create purpose, and they especially imply a growth mindset. They provide a young person with a challenge that's just outside of his or her range, but they don't leave that child alone and isolated. They say, I'm with you in a supportive way until you meet that challenge, but I'm never lowering my standard.
Yes.
Because this standard is high out of respect and dignity. And so caring relationships with mentors and adults where young people are held to high standards but given an occasion to learn how to reach that high standard is one of the best naturalistic ways to create a growth mindset.
What got you interested in researching growth mindset?
Yeah, that's a great question. I became interested in doing research at all because I was once a mediocre middle school teacher. And I was decent at motivating my students. I wasn't terribly effective yet at helping them acquire skills in grammar and writing. And I realized in general that when I went to professional development that I had hoped would help me gain new skills, that I was really unsatisfied with the clarity of the advice that I got. And there were very few instances where people could say, with an experiment, we said this or that, and this helped students do better than that. And so I became inspired to try to be a part of a research community that produces those kinds of findings. And I followed the lead of mentors like Carol Dweck and Claude Steele and others who I simply aspired to be like.
Thank you very much for your insightful answers and for your work in growth mindset. I know you're changing the lives of youth.
Thank you.